Faith groups in Canada have just dodged a bullet many didn't even know had been fired at them. Today I'm going to tell you about a very important Supreme Court of Canada decision that protects religious freedom. A Jehovah's Witness congregation in Calgary has just won a major legal victory. A member of the Highwood congregation of Jehovah's Witnesses named Randy Wall had been excommunicated by his Jehovah's Witness church review panel way back in 2014 after his congregation determined that he was not sufficiently repentant or sorry for having been drunk and verbally abusive to his wife. Now, because Wall had been turfed from his church, the entire congregation refused to do business with him, or for that matter, even speak with him. Wall testified that this caused a 50% drop in his real estate business. So Wall dragged his congregation to court to ask the court to decide that the Jehovah's Witnesses had terminated Mr. Wall's membership illegally and unfairly. At first, the Alberta Court of Queen's Bench ruled that it did indeed have the jurisdiction to interfere with the Highwood congregation's decision to terminate Mr. Wall's membership as a Jehovah's Witness. So, the Highwood congregation appealed to the Supreme Court of Canada. And just today, the Supreme Court overturned the lower court's decision and affirmed that the Jehovah's Witnesses have the right to determine who is and who isn't a part of their church, which really affirms the right all of us have to determine who is a part of our voluntary associations. This is great news. Now, this is directly from case law cited in the Supreme Court decision. Secular judicial determinations of theological or religious disputes or of contentious matters of religious doctrine unjustifiably entangle the court in the affairs of religion. In the end, religious groups are free to determine their own membership and rules. Courts will not intervene in such matters save where it is necessary to resolve an underlying legal dispute. As someone who doesn't want the government to decide who gets to be part of my religion, praise Jesus. And everybody else out there who doesn't want the government to force you to associate with people you don't want to against your will, well, you should be celebrating this decision today too. This decision is very, very important because had this gone the other way, the decision could have erased the important distinctions between religious denominations, basically making everybody have the same rules for membership and the same rules for excommunication. And this decision, had it went in Mr. Wall's favor, could have put the state in charge of what is said from our pulpits and the dogma by which we judge ourselves inside of our own churches. And you know, with Trudeau in charge of the country, I'd have a lesbian, pro-choice Catholic priest in my parish before Easter. And I know right now, if I wanted that sort of thing, I could find it. I could just affiliate myself with the United Church of Canada. But that's why this legal challenge was unnecessary in the first place. We have freedom of religion that permits us a choice. If you don't like the rules of one church, or if you can't follow those rules, you can just find a church that suits you. Don't expect the government to change the church to meet your ideas of what that church should look like. And unfortunately for Mr. Wall, while it might have been smart financially speaking to build his business model around the captive audience of his fellow JW congregants, he certainly is not entitled to their business, and they don't have to use a realtor that they think is an immoral kind of guy. I've got some harsh words for Mr. Wall. I don't know if Mr. Wall has done what he is said to have done to his wife, although he did admit it to the review panel, and his former church said he did it. Consequences were meted out here. And this isn't about the Jehovah's Witnesses or if you like them or not. This is about something much bigger than that. What kind of selfish individual invites the state to resolve ecclesiastical matters, especially in a way that could set legal precedent for the state to continue to meddle in the affairs of religious institutions going forward? Mr. Wall, through his very selfish legal challenge, put in jeopardy the religious freedom and freedom of association of every single religious institution in the entire country when he filed this ridiculous case. The answer, not just for religious people and for religious institutions, but for literally everybody, is less government involvement and never more involvement. If we like our lives, if we want to keep our religions the way we like them, we need to keep the government way the heck out of them. The last thing we should do is go around demanding the government dictate our dogma. And as far as Mr. Wall is concerned, I suspect his congregation was right about him all along. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. What you just saw there is my daily video here at The Rebel, but did you know that I also have my own weekly full-length show? It's aptly called The Gun Show, where we discuss issues just like this, about government overreach into our families and into our faiths. But to get access to my show, you've got to become a Rebel subscriber today.